Hello everyone, and welcome to the Italian Grand Prix on the Apex Racing League PS3 Formula 1 Championship. I'm Kevin Joyce, and I'm joined by Stefan Cobra once again.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Italian Grand Prix.
At Monza.
Bringing it to you live. And Kevin will take you through the qualifying lap at Italy.
Yes, and we're on board with Dale, and coming across the start-finish line, opening his DRS wide open and giving a full blast of curves. This is the highest top speeds we'll see all season as he hits nearly 340 kilometers an hour, looking for the 150 meter braking point on the left hand side, and down through the gears, and nicely over the curbs there for Dale. He gets a nice, clean, tidy exit, getting DRS open using a small bit of curves, a lot of different curve strategies around Monza, particularly for qualifying. We're coming on to the end of Sector 1, keeping right, going under the bridge, using that as your braking point for Turn 2, and over the very anti-Raja chicane, and a nice clean line from Dale. He's a little bit down in the first sector, as he tackles into the Lesmos, missing the apex, using the runoff in the area, and he takes the second Lesmo. Very important to get a good exit out of the second Lesmo. Up to the gears he goes, 6th gear, and finally into 7th. And this is crucial to your sector 2 times as he comes under the hill, under the old circuit, into the Ascari chicane. Dale takes plenty of curb, getting straight on the power, using all of the curb on the exit, using a bit of curves, and straight back on the DRS. And probably one of the most important corners on the circuit coming up, the Parabolica. A very difficult corner, using the concrete on the left hand side as a reference. Dale slightly missing the apex, but taking a wide line to maximise the straight, and taking the shortest route to the line, and across the line goes Dale, and that's a very decent lap from Dale. And we should go through the grid now, and Stefan will take us through it.
Alright. So Eric Cobra takes pole with a 1:16.7 on the option tyre. Lining up in second is Aero Fiber, just 2 tenths behind. In third we've got Aero Specialist and the First Virgin, almost half a second off the pace. Just behind that is VTI in the other Virgin. Then in 5th we've got Bachelor Dad and the First Williams. Steen Bradley in 6th, almost a second off the pole time. Elite F1 Maniac starts in 7th for this race, and the first Toro Rosso on the grid. After him there's Justin in the Mercedes, 1.5 seconds off the pace. And behind him is his teammate Lee Cocker. In 10th we saw his lap there is Dale in the Sister Force India. Then there's Stephen Martin in 11th in the other Zauber. Aeroboom in 12th. In 13th we've got Aero Blake. In 14th we've got Lemon Fresh Murph and McLaren. Ace Master did not make this race. Neither did Ivertex. So we're starting with 14 drivers on the grid.
Yeah, that's the grid, and just to let you know, Lemon Fresh Smurf actually drives a HRT, so a slight little error there. But yes, we see the grid there pretty close. It's going to be presumably a 1 or a 2 stop race here, lowest race on tyre wear for the entire season, and you can see the grid was covered by about 2 seconds, which is actually in Apex Racing League, that's a pretty small margin. So Monza, given the nature, is all about top speed. On board with a few different drivers here today, a few different perspectives. We have VTI, we have Aero Boom, Aero Bachelor Dad, Aero Cobra, we have Dale, and we have Justin also in the Mercedes. So here we are with Aero Boom. He's starting on the prime tyre, so it looks like he's going to go for a one-stop strategy. And the rumour is that VTI is also going to try that, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on. Aero Cobra lining up there on pole position, and looks like we're in for a classic slipstreaming race here. And it's just a question of there's Stephen Martin. We actually have some footage from him this weekend, and so a nice variety of cars to go through. And the lights come on, light number 3, light number 4, and number 5, and the Italian Grand Prix is underway. And Aero Cobra has got a great start, using a small bit of chaos. Aero Viper pulling alongside, but the first chicane is very narrow. It's very important not to get. And here's Aero Bachelor Dad, and that's VTI, and there's contact, and VTI is spun, and he's lost out quite badly there. He's been pivoted around by one of the back markers, and Aero Bachelor Dad. It looks like there was a small bit of lag involved with that. Aero Bachelor Dad backing right off. He looks like he's slowing down. And oh, that sent him off the track. And that's put Bachelor down in. He's going to be running dead last. So himself and VTI having lost a lot of ground there on the opening lap. Meanwhile, Aero Cobra leads the race along with Aero Viper running behind him. Aero Specialist sitting just behind them on the prime tyre. And this is the view from Aero Blake's perspective. Take us through it, Stephen.
So yeah, it seemed like quite some accidents before first score. I'm not sure if there was lag, but here we go. Aero Blake takes the inside. Oh, there's Boom, who hits the Mercedes. Can't see who that is, but that's VDI. Not sure who hit him, but nobody could avoid it. So there's a massive pile up.
Come on.
Stephen Martin just about avoiding all of that and hanging onto the car for dear life as he just gets right behind Lemon Fresh Smurf, and there he is, and there he's just touching Batch, and that sent Batch flying off the circuit. Luckily,
on the Stephen Martin screen, he didn't even hit him, so there's quite a bit of lag involved already.
Stephen Martin also a little bit problematic with lag, along with a few other drivers, as we start lap 2, and this is Dale getting in the tow of Aero Blake, who is also battling with Stephen Martin, and they're running three ways. Stephen Bradley going side by side, and look, there's Elite F1 Maniac getting in the mix. So
it's a great move from Elite F1 Maniac around the outside. Dale seemed to break a bit earlier than normal, and F1 Maniac took advantage of it. So there's a good fight already.
It's very difficult to get your braking points on high fuel, particularly for the first chicane and the second chicane. After qualifying, and is that Stephen Bradley going off? And no, and that's Justin. He spun and
yeah.
Absolute chaos in the opening laps here at Monza. Some drivers' race is effectively over already unless they switch to a different strategy, and it's very difficult to when you're running clean air. It's always better to have a slipstream because fuel is always incredibly marginal. And we're back with Aero Cobra, who's just ahead of Viper, and Aero Specialist is right behind them on the prime tyre. And it looks like the Aero Cobra and Aero Viper are going to go for a two-stop strategy here today. Aero Specialist possibly doing the same, except he's going to try and hang on to them in the tow using the prime tyres, but it'll be quite difficult for Aero Cobra and Aero Viper to break Specialist because Slipstream is so powerful. And here comes, DRS is finally enabled, and here comes, that's Aero Viper taking the lead from Aero Cobra. So status quo, and here we are with Blake. And he's
defending from two cars, both F1 Maniac and Dale. Are they both going around the outside then?
And Aero Blake looks like he's relinquished that position, hoping that they'll go off, and indeed they do. Dale goes very wide, and Boom is in the mix once again. And is that Dale going off? It is.
Dale missed his braking point, I think.
It looks like it, yeah. And Dale is, it's had a very calamitous start for all the drivers, as on the run down to turn 2 comes Aero Boom. And
plenty of action already, and Boom's already up to 6 on the prime tyre, so he's looking good for the rest of the race, I think.
If he can get to as far as lap 13 or 14 on these prime tyres. Now, they do get, one stop is very marginal around here, but it appears to be whatever strategy you're on, the more likely you're going to have drivers, in groups and slipstreams with each other. And if you have like a slipstreaming partner, you can take advantage of that. And that's F1 Maniac having a go. And there's collision and there's contact, and that's Aero Boom off the circuit, and that's put Stephen Martin up there in the mix. And up on full power goes Aero Boom as they'll be all getting DRS, so a bit of a NASCAR style event, and Stephen Martin doing quite well. Great start for Stephen Martin so far, Stephen.
Yeah, he's in 6th and also on the prime, so if he can hang in there using the slipstream, he's looking good as well.
Stephen Martin normally hangs around the back of the grid, but he had a strong performance in Spa and having a very strong run here today at Monza, and using the Sauber's good top speed to good effect as F1 Maniac goes deep. He'll have to give that position back surely, and indeed he surrenders it to and F1 Maniac didn't quite see him there, but we don't. This is Stephen Martin's perspective, and he's often shown that it's different. It's often a different story on his screen compared to everyone else's. So it'll be a bit of a nightmare for some drivers who are trying to follow him as they see him all over the circuit. And that's F1 Maniac just shoving him aside in the middle of the Lesmos, and sending him, and Stephen Martin will not be happy with that. It's very difficult to race when you have these situations, and this is Dale. Take us what's happening through here, Stephen.
That's a chain reaction we just saw. Boom hit the back of F1 Maniac, his teammate. And that's VTR.
He's recovering.
Avoiding Dale.
And this is VTI presumably trying to re-overtake Lemon after that spin. And there's contact, and that's put VTI back even further than he was. And he's going to have Bachelor's out for company again, surely. Yes.
Yeah, he was down to dead last, and in the replay we saw he was back to 9th already after just 4 laps, so it looked like a good comeback.
And there's contact between the two of them. Off the circuit goes Bachelor Dad, and that's going to set him completely playing last. And we believe there was lag involved in that incident, so VTI didn't exactly just turn on him. And here is Lemon attacking Dale, who's also had a very calamitous start. And we're on lap number 5. And Lemon Fresh Smurf, these drivers will be happy to get involved with the mix with the midfield, because normally other circuits they may not have the pace, and they can use the tow, so it's a good opportunity for the normally lower scoring people to get some good points here today. And Dale, presumably now, his tyres are even on lap 5, those tyres are not looking good, and that's Lemon straight up the inside. Lovely manoeuvre there by Lemon. Dale did not expect that coming, and a fantastic move from Lemon. He goes a little bit wide on the Lesmos, and Dale getting very close to the back of Lemon. And Lemon's gone off.
Lemon's in the gravel.
Oh, it's such a shame. He was doing so well, and there's Justin, who's gone through a big cloud of dust. He'll be soon catching up to the back of Lemon, so there should still be, even though a lot of drivers have spun, they're all still in relatively close quarters. So we could expect to see battles the whole way through the field today. And a lot of drivers will try different varying strategies. We believe Blake is also going to try one strap as well. And Justin, not really sure what position he is. Lee Cocker, we haven't seen him. We believe he's 7th. So we'll just take stock. We believe at the front we've got Aero Viper and Aero Cobra fighting over the lead, with Aero Specialist hanging on for dear life. And then in 4th place, I think, is Aero in 4th place? I'm not quite sure. And then we've got a big scrap of cars, and that's VTI overtaking Justin. And decent move there, and just got that well done. So he overtook both Lemon and Justin in the DRS zone, using full advantage of the top speed and the slipstream from both cars. And we're back now with Aero Boom, and here he comes down to the 2nd chicane on the back of Stephen Martin, and Stephen Martin jumping around all over the place at times. And Aero Boom had to deal with this in Spa, and unfortunately it looks like he's going to have to deal with this in Monza unless he can get by him and break away. And it does cause certain issues, and at a track like Monza, when you're doing 200 plus miles an hour on the straights, and you see a car miraculously just jump in front of you, you have not got much time to react. So Aero Boom will be trying to get into his slipstream. But anyway, at the moment Monza, it's much different track to other ones in F1 2011. It's one of these so-called slipstreamer races, much like Montreal, Interlagos, Istanbul. There seems to be a lot of slipstreaming going on, and a lot of tactics with regards to saving fuel. A lot of drivers running in standards, revs, lean revs, anything just to save it, because it seems that if you get clean air, that's when you want to use your fuel. And here's Aero Boom within the DRS, and you see that, there's the tactics right there. When you've got DRS, why bother using your fuel when you're hitting the rev limiter? And that looks like Stephen Martin is putting on a good show today. And on the run up to 2nd chicane they go. So, take us, and now here we are with Aero Cobra. So, what sort of mindset would Aero Cobra be in now with Aero Viper? Will they just be, well, they're down to 1 lap already. Presumably they're just going to be constantly just thinking of what to do with fuel and what to do with race. Will they be too bothered about their position now, Stefan? Do you think that they'll be...
I think they will just... I think they won't be putting up too much of a fight, because at the end of the race, that's all what matters. Because you can overtake 1 lap, but you'll get overtaken the next lap. So there's no point in overtaking at this stage of the race. So I don't think Viper will bother if Cobra opens his DRS on this straight.
No, and there we are into the pits. Both the HRT and Force India mechanics are out, and Aero Specialist stays out for another couple of laps. So he will try and get the hammer down and see can he pull out anything and try and make his prime tyre strategy work. And Aero Cobra comes out in front of Aero Viper, Yes, the Force India crew getting ahead of HRT there, but around Monza it's not so significant. Whoa, that was pretty close. Drivers coming down the start-finish straight and drivers exiting the pits. And this is going to be difficult for the leaders because these drivers presumably will also be on a two-stop, but all scrapping and fighting for position. And this could help Aero Specialist build a little bit of a gap, and possibly if he can do a good enough next 3 or 4 laps, he could try and get ahead. And look at all the lag that's going on there on Aero Cobra's screen. You can just see cars jumping around, and then he'd be very unsettled seeing that. As Aero Boom having a look at Blake on the run into the Lesmo, and yes, of course in this game there's no second DRS zone, but there's just one big DRS zone down the straight. But still, slipstream is quite powerful. So, and here comes Aero Blake going around to the outside. Aero Boom moves to the outside of Blake, and Lee Cocker is just behind them in the Mercedes, keeping them for company. And what tyre is Blake on, do you know, Stefan? Is he on the option or the prime? I can't quite see.
I can't quite make out what tyre he's on either. But Eric Cobra makes a move on identical twins.
And he's in the mix for that. Oh, and he gets sideways and he gets touched. And he had a little gap to Viper, but Viper surely was going to try and take advantage of this. But it won't matter too much. But Aero Cobra very nearly losing all of his front wing there against fighting away for the lead, fighting for P3, 4, and 5, and very, very difficult negotiating his way through the traffic, having to play tactically here because he will be trying to make sure he wants to keep the pace up because he does not want Aero Specialist to build that much of a gap. Who's now out in the lead on his own, has yet to make a pit stop. Presumably he'll coming on lap 10 or 11 and go on 2 option stints to the end. Both of these drivers have to run a prime stint, and presumably they'll be doing that on their final stint of the race. But Aero Viper is now right behind them. I think it looks like that Aero Cobra is just going to back off, let this battle commence, not get stuck in too involved. Unless he gets a good, clear passing opportunity, he'll just go for it. And as we can see, Blake getting very sideways on the worn tyres. And Aero Viper also sitting back, sort of just waiting. We're back now with Aero Blake on the run-up to the Ascari chicane. And Aero Boom is presumably... Okay, he's lost the back end. And that's calamitous stuff. He's getting back on track and have to recover from that. And the Aero Cobra now moves up ahead. And presumably now he's just going to a simple textbook DRS pass on Aero Boom. And indeed he is. Puts the engine up to... He's still running the engine on... is he running on faster? I can't quite understand. I can't really read. Yes,
yeah, he wasn't rich.
Okay. And here is Justin. And he's got Dean Bradley there for company as well. And in comes Dale into the pits, second Force India. So Force India drivers alternating their strategy slightly there.
They made a wing change as well, so I wonder why that was.
We did see him go off the track a couple of times, and maybe it was an unseen incident we've seen ourselves. We're moving forward to lap 11.
That must have been off camera then.
So, in the lead now is Aero Specialist, but presumably he's coming into the pits now. Stephen Martin was running up as high as second, but now he is pitted. Aero Specialist has not stopped yet, and he is some 11 seconds down the road as Viper takes the lead from Cobra once again. And now here's the battle of the pits between Dean Bradley and Justin in the Mercedes. And Justin switches to the option tyre, and out he comes again. And yes, status quo as they were, no big changes there in the pits. Presumably around lap 18, 19 they'll come in for a set of prime tyres or maybe a set of options, depending on whatever strategy work goes. It seems to be just keeping the fuel intact by having +2 or +3 laps. If you're running clean air, if you're in clean air with no slipstream, you need to use that fuel to give you the pace to keep your lap times up. So when you're running into...
You go through your fuel so quickly when you're in clear air, and you actually want to use your fuel. You're back to optimal in the space of a couple of laps, so you just want a slipstream partner, to be fair.
Yes, and it's just it's so, and the worst thing is as a driver when you're so competitive, you're just out of DRS range, and it's just like the forbidden fruit. You just turn up your fuel mix for half a lap, and all of a sudden you're down to +1 lap or something like that. So you have to manage it well. You have to try not your emotions get the better of you sometimes, because especially in the heat of a battle. Now at Monza not so much. Other circuits may be so where track position is crucial. And here is Aero Blake up the inside of Boom, and Blake doing quite well. He's had a bit of a shocker at Spa, but he's back on it now, and he's fighting it out for the top guys. We don't know where VTI is. He has not stopped yet, and he's presumably really in the battle with Lee and with Dale. Steam Bradley not running too well so far. We didn't see it in any on-track instance, but he absolutely flies by Dale using the full length of the straight and using all of the DRS and all of the curves to just absolutely breeze by him at Monza. It's debatable whether on a game like this is DRS absolutely necessary still, because Slipstream is so powerful.
Yeah, Slipstream more or less is the DRS on this game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. But sometimes it could make a difference on other tracks, but on this track not so much.
No, it seems to be more of a tactic then if you are in DRS just to put your engine down and lean. We've seen Aero Boom doing it a couple of times. Just put the engine down to lean and just work away. Now here he comes up to the Parabolica, and that's Specialist behind him, is it?
Yeah,
yes,
Specialist.
It is. Yes, and
Specialist started on the primes and he's now on the opposite side, just saw.
Yep, so he made a pit stop, we didn't see it, so that's put Aero Specialist, and he's absolutely flying, and VTI he's not too far behind Aero Boom. So Specialist now on the move. He'll be doing everything he can to try and catch the leaders, and there he is with the fastest lap.
Yeah, he'll be disappointed to emerge a bit behind the leaders, because now he has to use some fuel. But he's on the option tyre, so hopefully for him, he can cling on.
You have to try and compensate his pace, and here is Dale. And I can't quite make that out. That's Steam Bradley who's just gone ahead, I think. Oh, sorry, it's Justin. It's Justin. I do apologise. Apologies, quite poor on my screen here, but so yes. So let's take stock now. Aero Viper and Aero Cobra have made a pit stop. They came in on lap 7 and lap 8, and that's Blake. And off the track goes Blake, and just about recovering. He's had some calamitous off the track instance, and VTI gets by him. He used his toe and used his slipstream. VTI still hasn't stopped yet. He's on very, very warm prime tyres. He's probably coming on lap 14 or 15. As you can see, look how much understeer he has through the Ascaris, and Blake is all over him pretty much straight away, even though he had an off-track incident. So Blake presumably now getting ready for DRS. VTI won't try and fight him too much. He's trying to make his strategy work. He's going for sort of a Paul di Resta style, and VTI goes very wide, and he's gone on the grass, and that's cost him a second or two, and Aero Blake easily overtakes him, and that's going to cost him big time. So it seems that like fuel seems to be king as opposed to what tyres you're on, because having the top speed, the length of the straights here at Monza, it's worth so much having good top speed on your car, and most people, normally it's fuel that seems to beat the, you know, in terms of tyre wear. Tyre wear is quite low, as we look at Viper once again retaking the lead from Aero Cobra. And as you can see, both drivers still presumably on lean, and Aero Specialist is catching them. He's catching them quite quickly, but and here's VTI on lap number 15, comes in, that's his prime stint finish. Presumably now this is a one-stop strategy, and he's going to go to the options. So what he can hope for is that the other drivers on the 2-stop will be holding each other up, and his fuel he's used up a lot of his fuel already, presumably just trying to catch up after the calamitous mistakes, and his camera is a little bit off center there. We're back now with Aero Cobra and Aero Viper, and Viper gets very wide, and Aero Cobra very much just about avoiding Aero Viper. I do get mixed up with people's names sometimes, I do apologise. But anyway, lap number 15, so presumably now they're going to be coming in at laps 16, 17, 18 for a prime stint to go to the end. The Aero Specialist is right behind him. He's caught right back up to them, so he's gone hell for leather and gone all out, and using a lot of fuel presumably just to catch up to these two. He's doing everything he can to keep them within range, but it's going to be difficult. Like, you have to be very cagey with your fuel. But both drivers, they're playing the Canada game very well. At Canada, both drivers were just sort of relinquishing positions, working together quite effectively, and there you go. Once again, Aero Viper retaking the lead. But they're not putting up a fight, but that's what makes the difference. If you're battling with someone, you're losing so much time. As Aero Boom finally comes in on lap number 16, he's also in a similar strategy to VTI, but he went one lap longer on those tyres, and those tyres are absolutely shot. And where will he come out relative to VTI? Because they were both in close proximity, so we'd imagine Boom should come out just ahead of him at the moment. And sure enough, that is the case, yes. So Boom and VTI in 10 and 11, and presumably now there's Dale in front, he'll have to stop again. Justin also in front, he'll have to stop again. Aero Blake, we haven't seen where he is on screen, but at the moment I think Boom and VTI, if they can keep this pace up, they're looking at a net 5th or 4th place. So if they can keep up their pace and maybe even work together to use a bit of a tow. And also now, here we are with Stephen Martin, who's having a good race so far. And he is Lee Cocker for a company as well, right behind him. And this is a major scrap going on here. And Stephen Martin using all of the curb and going for a double move. They're 3 abreast, and it's going to end in contact, and it does. And there's Stephen Martin.
Blake.
Oh dear, he will not be happy with that. It's not easy to go 3 abreast on a straight like that. F1 Maniac and Blake using all the track available to them. But Stephen Martin, fair play to him, he's putting up a nice fight here, and he's getting in the DRS, and he should repass Blake. And it just shows that Blake goes very defensive at the last second, but it's a very clear-cut manoeuvre, which is fine. And it just shows that some drivers are all happy just to go flat out and go for it and race together. Other drivers are more cagey, they're more sort of relaxed and just trying to wait for the final 5 or 6 laps before where it really matters. So, and there's Blake going right across the chicane and using the grass, and he gets sideways and he's lost the position to Lee. And Aero Blake, has he stopped yet? I'm not quite sure. It doesn't look like he has.
I think he must have hit the cliff now, because we haven't seen him in yet.
No, and he's also on a one-stop. But going as far as lap 17, he's really hit the cliff. It shows that Aero Boom is beating, and that's Dale. He's off, and he's out of the race. So Dale, after having a difficult start, and here is Blake battling with Justin. So we're seeing the strategies fill out a little bit more now, and Blake's tyres are absolutely finished. So lap 17, he's gone 17 laps.
Whoa, that's the lag spike.
And there's a bit of a lag spike there, and both drivers going through each other. And Aero Specialist is now right with these. So what will he do? Will he try and save fuel now and just wait for the final strategy to come? Because he'll be on the options, so he'll be looking quite good.
Yeah, he has the tyre advantage at the moment, but I don't think there's a point in overtaking them, because there is the tyre advantage, but the slipstream effect will allow Cobra and Firebird to hang on. So I think he'd better just stay behind, save some more fuel, and attack at the end of the race.
And here's VTI, and this is a replay of him overtaking. Who is that? That's Boom. So both of them now in proximity, and VTI on -1 of laps. So he'll try and save a bit of fuel in this stint. And here's Stephen Martin and Lee Cocker. Oh, whoa! And
nice, man.
Lee cutting right across Stephen Martin, whether there was lag or not. But Stephen Martin is getting it from all angles this race, between people hitting him off from behind, side to side. He's had some, and he's fair play to him. He's fighting on, he's soldiering on, and driving a storm of a race.
Just let his teammate through there, Steen Bradley.
So teammates working together there. Steen sort of, I'm not sure what kind of a race it is. He's not just seems to be having one of his best races. As in come the leaders, all 3 of them now for the final stint now, and there is Aero Specialist very nearly running into the back of Viper. So it's the battle of Force India, HRT, and Virgin all in one go. And three into the pits. Decent stop by Force India, and he gets out comfortably in the lead. And they are line astern once again.
All in the same order.
All in the same order, so no changes there. In this occasion, nobody's been screwed over by the mechanics. And in comes Justin, and he's going to presumably fit. Has he to do with prime stint? He's put on the options, so he has done. Yes, he's done a prime stint already. So Justin now has options to the end. This should be pretty easy to go, and this will elevate Boom now and BTI up to P4 and 5, and you know it's actually paid off for him going for the 1-stop, even though a 2-stop is probably quicker if you've got a slipstreaming partner. But they avoid all other incidents. You're out on track on your own, and you can just get on with it. And here we are. Here is Boom, and here is BTI, and at the moment now it says that they're running is it 9, 8 and 9 or 9 and 10?
7 and 8.
Sorry, 7 and 8. Yes, quality is quite poor, but anyway, yes, here's Boom overtaking having a look at VTI into Ascari. Now Boom's tyres, and there's a bit of lag. Once again, Aero Boom experiencing the bad end of it, and he'll be frustrated looking at that. He's had to look at the likes of Stephen Martin. Now he has VTI's bad connection to deal with. So yes, Ireland seems to have pretty low internet quality these days. Maybe they had to give some of it to the Germans, but anyway, that's a different story. And here is Stephen Martin into
Battle
the
of
pits. And it's a battle of the pits between himself, Lee Cocker, and I don't know who else is in there. There's another driver going by. And there goes, and that was for Aero Specialist, was it? I saw Virgin mechanics out there, but he was already in. And there is Justin going off, having a horrible exit from the Parabolica, and that hasn't gone well for him.
It allowed Blake through, didn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. And Blake is back up in contention again, as these two are now. And look, Boom has got a bit more fuel now than VTI, so he's having to deal with the lag and the slipstream at the same time. So VTI will probably have to conserve a little bit here. He'll just be sitting in lean or in standard just to try and get the thing to the end, because he'd be happy enough with that. Presumably, after all his accidents, he's up now into P4. There's Aero Bachelordad setting the fastest lap, and he's out on his own at the moment down at the back. But he's
yeah, we haven't seen much from him.
No.
I wonder where he is on the track at the moment.
I'd imagine he's down in P12 or P12 at the moment, because he's had a few incidents. But I'd say he is catching the likes of Lemon for Smurf, who's actually just behind these two. He'd be in contention, fighting it out between himself, Justin, and Lemon between the end of the race. So Bachelordad not exactly out of it yet, could steal a championship point, and it's given the opportunity, and all the drivers, the other drivers in the ARL. And there's Aero Cobra responding with a fantastic lap time there. And here comes the DRS attack from Aero Boom. He eases by VTI, and VTI will just sit there behind him as well. So it's a different sort of race, Monza, in that regard. Into the first chicane he goes over the curbs, using all the track on the exit, giving it a full blast of curves. And you take the shortest route heading down towards the second chicane. And we're back with Aero Cobra going to the Lesmos. And we believe there's a bit of a discussion going on between him and Aero Viper as regards to what to do, because they have worked together as a team to try and hold on, using the tow to good effect and not getting in each other's way, and therefore try and capture the race win. And it just makes these drivers make it just look so easy. They're just so elegant and so smooth in the way they drive, and it just seems to be it's the difference between you see other drivers attacking the curbs, throwing the car into corners. And it's all just one sort of smooth, elegant movement. Look how close Aero Cobra gets to the inside curve there, Parabolica, taking the shorter line, taking the shorter route to the start-finish line, putting the engine on, using a bit of fuel now at this stage. So he's got 5 laps to go. Aero Viper is right behind him. Aero Specialist literally just sitting behind them at the moment. But Aero Specialist has used a lot of fuel. And here's Stephen Martin, who's had a right battle all race long, and he is still fighting out for some decent points here today. He'll be absolutely thrilled, and here he goes, using all of the track and then some to do a double pass on the start-finish straight ahead of Lee and ahead of Maniac. And Maniac, he looks like he's coming back at him, and Lee has gone straight on. Stephen Martin's gone through the chicane, and F1 Maniac was also alongside him, but he backed out of it. And this is Aero Bachelordad. We haven't seen much of him. He's actually, there we go, that's after a question. He's not that far behind him, so he could still be in the sniff for points. So nothing set in stone here just yet. Still 5 laps to go, still all to play for. As Stephen Martin, really fair play to him. He's running an absolute stormer of a race. He's keeping it all together, keeping it elegant. Has not people have pushed him off the track between lag and whatever and what have you, and he's just getting on with it. He's soldiering on, and if you just keep at it, even though like a lot of drivers, well, some drivers let their head drop, after an incident and just sit there and just drive around and not bother. But fair play to Stephen Martin. And there he is, up the inside of Lee Cocker. So far, he's certainly in the running for my driver today, is Stephen Martin. He's doing a fantastic job in the Sauber. And normally, he's a guy who'd be finding it out and has a lot of connection issues. And it'd be great to see him get a decent result here today, getting a decent haul of points. And there is Aero Boom, and VTI is just behind him, and he just absolutely roars by him on the straight. Such a difference between fuel mixes. Some fuel mixes might make your car max out. Others, like on lean, then you might barely struggle to get to 7th gear sometimes. Would you think in setup for this track, Stefan, that there'd be much difference in regards to aerodynamics? Because normally the trend is to go for a high rear wing and a relatively high front wing. But in the race, when you don't have a slipstream and you don't have DRS, it's all about your top speed. So do you think there'll be many compromises in setup?
Yeah, some people might do actually, because if you're on your own, then you might try something like, well, the trend is to go with 11 rear wing. That's what most people do. But for this race, you might actually think, oh, let's go for 5-9 wings. I'm just saying something. If you're out on your own, that you could benefit from that. But if you have a slipstream partner, you might as well just go for the higher aero, because the slipstream effect is so big.
Yeah, and it looks like that's what the two leaders have done. But that makes a lot of sense, because you can, not only that, you can save more fuel, and using each other's toe to pull each other along down the straights, it's used to good effect. So it really depends what you're going for. If you think you're going to be in a pack and using the toe and using DRS, it seems go for the high wings, and if you think you're going to be out on your own, go for low wings. So, and here is Aero Bashir now on the back of Justin, and Lemon is just behind him. So Aero Bashir giving it everything. There's a good
That's Blake spinning off, I think.
Yes, that's Blake. So Blake has dropped back behind Bash. Not a good race for Williams. And up the inside goes Bashir, who's finally getting in on the action, having had a horrible start for him. Absolutely horrible start for him. And now he's back in the mix. So he'd have worked hard to do all that. He's had to wait the guts of 20 laps to do it. And here is the replay of the incident from Blake, who is on his one-stop strategy. And running wide, putting a wheel on the grass, and the gravel just takes him off and fires him into the barrier. And not easy.
It looked like he understeered wide onto the grass.
Yes.
That's what. Yeah. Oof, that is close as well. Is it Lemon?
Yes, that was unbelievably close. That could have been a massive accident. And here is Aero Cobra and Aero Viper still sort of battling it out for the win, as it seems at the moment. Specialist has dropped a little bit away from them. He's still about 1.7 seconds down. VTI then is 17 seconds down the road from them, so he's recovered from what he was. He was running last, but he's recovered to P4 using the one-stop strategy to very good effect. And Aero Boom is just behind him. So the one-stoppers looks like they've benefited from something here this afternoon, because had they gone for a conventional two-stop, they may not have been in contention. So it doesn't look like the two-stoppers are going to catch them in time, because their pace, number one, they're running line astern, and number two, their pace seems quite decent. So the both of them going for the option tyre in the final stint, which will last the guts of 10 or 11 laps, or even more if you just drive smoothly and just drive with a clean attitude. And Viper now looks like he's trying to make a little bit of a break from Aero Cobra, but once again the toe playing into such a huge effect. But both drivers here, it's been sort of make or break for them all season. They've been sort of constantly battling between each other. It always seems to be one or the other this season. And
on a track like this, there's just no way to pull away from each other. I'm sure if you could pull away from each other, then one of them would have tried it. If they feel they're the fastest driver, they would have tried it. But on a track like this, there's just no point.
Yeah, that's true. And it's very fair to say that in Hungary we saw an absolutely fantastic side-by-side battle with them for the guts of 4 or 5 corners side by side, which was really, really good watching. It was a classic example of what we're about here in ARL, where drivers can just battle side by side and just, battle fairly and have a good clean scrap. And even though lag is an issue, the other drivers still compensate for each other. And up the inside goes Lee Cocker on Stephen Martin, and into the DRS zone once again. And Stephen Martin using everything, and Lee barely giving him room, going left and going right. That was a little bit naughty there from Lee, I thought, because he was almost alongside him, but I suppose his wheel wasn't legal with his, wasn't level with his, so probably a legitimate move, but a little bit late. And here is Aero Cobra on lap 26 out of 27, and Aero Viper is just behind him.
Specialist is still right behind him as well.
He's still in the mix, alright, so what can he do? Well, we have to see what he's done relative to fuel. It depends really who's got fuel at this stage. The Specialist seems to have sort of held on to them in this final stint rather than going all out. So maybe he's just in fuel save mode as well. And their Specialist just behind Aero Viper, so is he going to have a look at him down into turn 1? We're looking at Aero Cobra's perspective, so we haven't seen any moves yet. We're back with Justin, and Bashir is just ahead of him, and Lemon is battling Justin here for P11. And around the outside goes Lemon into the escarpment chicane. A lot of drivers seem to like him. It's a relatively simple track, and it's pretty good fun for battles, as we can see all the way down here to the field. Stephen Martin lining up Lee Cocker for another run. Stephen Martin certainly my running, definitely in my driver of the day so far. He's just just pure grit from him. He's just not holding back, going for it, not getting too conservative, not getting outbraked. A lot of drivers outbraking themselves, the likes of Blake and the likes of Maniac and Lee, sometimes outbraking themselves. And that's Lemon overtaking Bachelor Dad, is it? It is. Did Bachelor Dad have an incident we didn't see? Or was he in close proximity? I'm not quite sure. But Lemon has stolen P10 from Bachelor Dad, and Bachelor Dad will be trying to get that back. And we're on the final lap here. And Aero Cobra and Aero Viper coming round the final corner. Out of the Parabolica. And across the start-finish line they go. And Aero Cobra slowed down and looks like he's given the Viper the victory. Working together as a team. So Aero Viper our winner here at Monza today. And Aero Specialist finishing in third. And that's Lemon going wide, having just taken the position from Bachelor Dad. He's got that back now. And here's Justin also in proximity. So still a battle on the way to go. VTI finishes in fourth. And Boone was just crossed the line in fifth. And it's still all to play for the final points here on the final run down. And down the Parabolic where they go. And that looks like there's a side-by-side battle going on just in front. And that's a scrap between Lemon and Bachelor Dad. And who has got it? It looks like, I don't know, did Bachelor Dad get by him in the final corner?
Yeah.
He did.
Bachelor's done it.
And Lemon has ran out of fuel, so Lemon just about getting caught out at the end. Numerous scraps throughout the field. It was a great result. And so yes, Aero Viper finishing in first place. And he's our winner here today. And Aero Cobra finishing just 3/10 behind in the Force India. Pretty much two of them lead line astern the whole race. VTI got third place after a few penalties given out to Aero Specialist, who was given to fourth. He was given a few 10-second penalties for numerous different incidents. Aero Boom literally just a second or two behind in fifth place in the final standings. Stephen Martin then a fantastic sixth place for him, 32.5 seconds down on the Sauber, and Lee Cocker finishing just behind him in the Mercedes. In eighth position, Elite F1 Maniac had a dogged drive from him. Pretty decent result for him. He'll be happy for that from the relegation battle. Justin then in ninth after having numerous incidents finally gets a point. Lemon Fresh Smurf finally got that point in the end because Aero Bachelor Dad must have had one or two time penalties as Steen Bradley takes up 11th. Not a great result for him today. Bachelor Dad then finishing 12th. He'll be disappointed with that. And Aero Blake, not a good day for Williams at all. They finished well down the order. And Dale then crashed out, and of course that's their final results. And in the championship, that has helped Aero Viper close the gap on Aero Cobra by 7 points, and we see 272 points for Aero Cobra, Aero Viper on 245, not too far behind him. Aero Bachelor Dad has dropped back a little bit, no points scored for him. That's allowed Aero Specialist and Justin and VTI all to close up with him. So the battle for third place still going, and Lee Cocker and Aero Boom still pretty much neck and neck in the battle for 7th and 8th position. They're well clear. It looks like at the moment they're well clear of the relegation battle, so they'll be hoping to stay in F1 next season. Of course, the bottom six drivers get relegated to make way for drivers who get promoted. And Elite F1 Maniac has a few points. That's put him ahead of Steen Bradley, back ahead of Steen, who is now just sitting on the cusp of the relegation zone, but presumably Steen has got 7 or 8 races to go. He can make a few results. Ivertex has dropped out, so he's out. Aero Blake, disappointing result for him. Dale dropped out. Stephen Martin getting himself some points to put him ahead of Ace Meister and Lemon. So Stephen Martin's 6th place has hauled him right ahead of those two. They'll be hoping to maybe nick another point or two before the end of the season, just so you know, for the battle. So everyone's got someone to battle with in this season's championship. Just a reminder to you all that in ARL we have at the moment we're going into season 5 with F1 2012, and you can sign up at apexracingleague.com and someone will assign you to a league. So who's your driver of the day then, Stephen?
It's a tough call really. I'm thinking VTI on his drive today, coming back from last place. But I'm gonna give it to Stephen Martin for his best result of the season.
I give it to Stephen Martin as well. A fantastic drive from him. So anyway, we'll see you all for the Singapore Grand Prix next time. Take care.
go out, we will be racing here in Monte Carlo. Look, but never stare. And we're away. And it looks like a good start by Pilkey and Bachelor Dad looking for a way through. The Ferrari of Ant Warrior in second place. He's lagging all over the track there.